Part 1. The Possession of Iain Morrow. Chapter 1. Iain was back. She glanced across the familiar little room. Silver clouds hovered over the skylight high above a rumpled bed. A candle sat on the edge of the vanity, waiting for the sun's weak rays to finally fade. Her gaze returned to the mirror in front of her. She smoothed the strand of her blonde bob and tucked it behind one ear. The reflection in the mirror wasn't hers, but she knew it as well as her own. The big brown eyes rimmed with kohl, the smiling lips shaped into a red cupid's bow. Once again, she watched a slim hand bearing a glowing garnet smooth a robe embroidered with gold. Iain could feel the silk passing beneath her fingertips. The girl in the mirror was waiting. A clock on the mantel over the fireplace was frozen at 5 minutes to 6. Time had slowed to a trickle. Outside, the fall wind wailed. The trees groaned in the park she somehow knew was less than a block away. The crackling fire had banished the evening chill, but the girl felt no need for its warmth. She heard the sound of ladies' heels on the cobblestones below, her heart fluttering. She scurried across the rough wooden floorboards to the window, careful not to let the heels of her slippers slide into the cracks. She peeked between the velvet curtains. 1 story below her, on a quaint narrow lane, 2 women in fur coats walked past, arm in arm. The shape of their hats and the style of their shoes hadn't been in fashion for almost 100 years. The women didn't stop, and the girl sighed with relief when they finally disappeared from view. The last thing she needed was a visit from her mother on this, their first night alone together. Her eyes darted up to the skeleton of a skyscraper being built in the distance and quickly returned to the street below. A dark figure had appeared outside the lane. The girl's breathing quickened when the figure stopped at her door and stealthily checked both sides of the street. She heard a key enter the lockdown stairs, then heavy steps bounding up to the 2nd floor. In an instant, he was inside her room, his coat and hat in his hands, auburn hair tousled, green eyes flashing, old-fashioned tweed suit slightly ragged about the cuffs. She met him at the door and threw her arms around his neck. He let his coat drop to the floor so his cold hands could find the small of her back. Then his wet lips found hers. She pressed herself against him, feeling the warmth building under his layers of cotton and wool. "I've been waiting forever," she told him. "I'm here now," he whispered, as his hands passed over her body. "Ethan," she murmured as the room turned blindingly bright. Chapter 2. Iain Morrow stood on top of a footstool, gazing out the open window in front of her and willing herself not to fidget. Over the winter, the anticipation had been building inside of her. Once the weather turned warm, she found herself unable to sleep or stay still. It felt as if every cell in her body were dancing. Beyond the tall mountains that surrounded Snope City, something was waiting for her, and her impatience had grown almost too much to bear. Iain felt the urge to leap out the window, certain that the wind would carry her over the trees and deposit her exactly where she needed to be. The only thing keeping her tethered to earth was Beau's hand on the hem of the dress she was modeling. "Iain, get in here and find me that remote control!" Her grandmother's squawk shattered Iain's concentration. She teetered for a moment, then stumbled from her stool. "Damn, Iain! When'd you get so clumsy?" Iain heard a needle hit the floor and saw Beau dip a wounded finger into his mouth. "Aw, poor thing." She mussed the boy's shaggy blonde hair. "I'll be right back. Imogene always sits on the remote. It's probably wedged between her butt cheeks." "Should I go get a crowbar?" Beau joked. He rose to his full 6'4" and offered Iain a wicked grin, unaware he was only inches away from getting scalped by the ceiling fan. "Keep your voice down," Iain snickered as she threw open the bedroom door. "You want to get banned for life?" Iain's bare soles pounded against the floorboards. She liked to put her whole weight into the unladylike display. As she bounded down the